And welcome in. Oh, now you blow it. Okay. Try this again. It's the dog days of summer here at the Pride of Detroit PODcast, or should we call them the kitty days of summer? No dogs, but cats. It's damn hot everywhere. And we're just out here, massive vibe check. Ryan's already on my case. Apparently, this is what the end of June feels like for the Pride of Detroit PODcast. PrideOfDetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of Detroit on Facebook. Find the PODcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and always watch us live on Twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit. Woo! Okay. That's good. A little less adequate that time.
Take a breath.
I am, as always, the adequate host, Chris Perfett, at Chris Perfett on Twitter. Back from a week of a lot of work, and had to be tortured by making the last couple podcasts because of this new thing we've created called the Scraps, which is completely spiraling out of control. But we'll get to that in a second. Or maybe we won't. Probably we'll save that for another Scrap. But on this podcast, third installment of the Listcast is starting as we start on with running backs. Yes, running backs. And maybe some gambling stuff. Did we talk Jeremy into gambling? I don't know. You'll have to find out in a second. First, let's bring in that man, Jeremy Reisman, fearless leader at Detroit Online. How's it going?
I'm good. I decided to give you guys a parting gift, and I say parting only in that I'm leaving the apartment that I am currently. This is the final episode being recorded in this current apartment. So, landmark episode.
We're building a new radio-free Pride of Detroit somewhere in the hinterlands of Michigan.
Sure.
Up in God's country.
Let's
Jeremy
go with that.
Jeremy will be coming from an undisclosed bunker beneath the earth.
Yeah. It'll look no different to our live audience, considering I'm just currently sitting on Ford Field.
It's probably already flooded, if we're being honest.
Thank you for that thought. That the place that I'm going to be moving in is currently flooded.
Well, you could just be like, I saw some guys in Dearborn on jet skis. You could always do that.
I'm not moving in that direction of the Metro Detroit area, thankfully.
Don't give people more hints on where you are. They'll stop by and try to take Zazu.
Never.
Like this man here, the third man, Ryan Matthews. At Ryan_POD. Ryan is decided to betray the great city of Detroit because he is currently wearing a throwback Canucks hat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Looks good. Look good, play good. That's always my mantra. But I guess I'm not playing too good because I was at least worried that when Jeremy said we were getting parting gifts, I thought I was getting fired on air.
Well, we'll see how you do on this Listcast. Well,
listen, I've been joking about our good friend. Why can't I remember his name? Down to Ole Miss now, the coach.
Oh, Caskey?
Lane Kiffin.
Oh, Lane Kiffin.
Kiffin. I'm sorry. Hold on. I've been joking so long about Lane Kiffin. Now I'm going to get tarmacked. Jeremy's just going to do me like that.
Sure. Well, I mean, let's just view Listcast as also a performance review.
Okay.
No pressure.
Well, thankfully, I don't think there's anything too psychotic about this Listcast, except for, as always, we will bang on people who are not on the show about one of their choices. But I think it's pretty solid. It's solid. I think there's consensus among the big three here. That's good. I don't know about spoilers. Anyway, where are we going to start? So we were talking before about how do we start? As I said, this is the dog days of summer. There's not much going on for the NFL. I'm sitting here drinking tea, watching penalty kicks for France and Switzerland. The only really big news I have is that the Lions were shut out of the PFF's top 50 players of 2021, but I think we kind of expected that, to be honest, aside from weirdo grades they gave last year to Trey Flowers for defense. I don't think he actually did.
Right. I mean, he only played, 5 or 6 games? I mean, you look at the Lions roster, and there's really only 2 candidates, I think, that you could give to potentially be a top 50 player in this league right now, and it's Frank Ragnow and C.J. Hawkinson. 2 guys that made the Pro Bowl last year. Frank Ragnow was a second-team All-Pro, and it came out later on Monday, that the PFF did their honorable mentions, and Frank Ragnow made the honorable mentions list.
Cool.
Which is fine. I mean, I think part of the reason he didn't make the list was there literally wasn't a center that was listed as a top 50. And PFF said, positional value doesn't matter. So, a safety, a corner, theoretically, I guess a punter could be their number one player if they were that good, that game changing. But yeah, no centers made the list.
This
so
is all
knocking on the door, I guess.
Yeah, this is all to lead up to that. I've decided to torture Jeremy, or Jeremy's decided to torture himself.
True.
I didn't do this. I want the audience to know I did not do this. Jeremy is going to feed me and Ryan Lions props.
Yes.
And we are going to, me and Ryan, the infamous successor to the mysterious Bovada King and myself, are going to sit here. Maybe Jeremy might join in. This is what we want to do before we get real into camp battles. I feel like this is a good way to project ceilings for what we think some of the Lions players are going to look like in 2021, which is totals, over-unders on yardage, on various other things that Jeremy has put together for us.
Yeah, I mean, consider this a potential new segment depending on, I hate to beg for advertisers again. I think we did a couple weeks ago, but like, this could be the sports bet roundup, featuring or provided us
We've
by
walked down this road before, though.
Something Sportsbook. Just throwing it out there. It'd be a very
just throwing it out there.
It'd be a very
I consider this
easy
a preview
fit-in.
for me, and I consider this a preview for me and Ryan doing our gambling podcast one leg at a time.
Maybe this is more like your pilot episode to see if it actually works.
Yeah, so technically we need some metrics. I wish, SB Nation could actually help us out and do something for us productive and give us metrics on just the first segment, because this is our test to see how well
probably
this is
ruining it
do.
by like just sitting here and just faffing about, but yeah.
No, it would be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, our friend Baltimore Beatdown is in our live chat right now, and he says SB Nation Sportsbook, the SBN SB. It's perfect.
I lost
maybe
track
we just
about halfway through on those letters.
Maybe we just changed SB Nation to Sportsbook Nation.
Sportsbook Nation, I like it. That's where the entire sports industry is going, Jeremy. So be careful. That might be a monkey paw that you are causing to curl right now. All of sports are becoming gambling, and it's both good and bad.
Well, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get to some numbers and you guys' predictions.
We're already cannibalizing written content,
Yes.
so now let's cannibalize the audio content for gambling content. Let's go, Jeremy. You've given into the dark side.
We got to start our prop bets with Jared Goff, because that's where all the hot money is on. That's where all the excitement is on. A lot of people are wondering, how's Jared Goff going to do? And I think we're going to just start with the two main metrics, and let's start interceptions. I'm setting the over-under at 14. And you guys have to keep this in mind the entire time. We're dealing with the 17-game season. So past totals, you got them bump up by 1/16. So real quick. Yes.
Ryan, do you think Jeremy knows what a hook is?
I feel like he knows what a hook is.
13.5? Is that what you want?
No. I don't know. 14's fine. I was just curious. I just wanted to make sure as I was reading these.
I just need to know, if I tie, do I lose? Or if I tie,
you push.
I don't know. This is Jeremy's Sportsbook.
I just wanted to give you guys the option to be crazy and say not over under. You got it directly right.
Oh,
and I'll give you plus 10,000 odds for it.
This is how we win our jobs back. This is part of the performance.
This is how I win.
All right.
Do you want to win? Do you want to win by $5 or 5,000?
Over under is set at 14. For context, last year he had 12 interceptions. The year before that he had 16. The year before that 13.
Man, I'm gonna. So what year was the 13 interceptions again, Jeremy?
That was 2018.
That was 18.
12 last
12
year.
was last year. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to go under. I think that the Lions offense that he's going to have, I think the offense he's going to have in Detroit with Anthony Lynn, it's going to emphasize more short yardage passing for him. He's going to have a reliable weapon in TJ Hawkinson. I don't think he's going to make he's going to be pressed into a lot of risky throws. I think the run game is going to be a little more involved than it was that final year in Los Angeles. I think this is a Jared Goff you're not really trying to push to the limit this year. You're just trying to rehabilitate. So a lot of the risky stuff is probably going to go out the window. It's probably, the interceptions are probably going to be more likely just from a brain fart that he has than it is any kind of risk he's under, which could still happen. But I like that it's interceptions and not turnovers because I worry about his ball. I worry about his ball security a little bit more right now than I do his interceptions. I'll take the under.
Ryan?
Yeah, I'm going to take the under just because I think Jared Goff is going to play a risk-averse game in 2021. I think that he's going to play a safe game. I don't think that I'm not trying to label him to be a game manager. I'm not trying to make him out to be Trent Dilfer. I just think that they're going to limit the shots that he takes downfield for the sake of their run game and for a more methodical, like sideline to sideline passing game. So I'll take the under. And I think that's kind of bold, though. Like with 17 games, to say that he'll average, just under an interception a game, like that's some pretty. That's some
right.
solid.
I forgot. We're gonna have that 17th game, and that might screw all this up.
I warned you, Chris. I warned you at the top of the segment, and I mean, I won't throw in an over/under vote here.
I'll go with it. I'll stick to my under.
But
I will remind you, Ryan, though, that Trent Dilfer did win a ring.
I will remind both of you that this is a bad Lions team, and yes, in theory, you wouldn't see Jared Goff throwing a lot downfield, but in reality, we might see him have to force some shots in the fourth quarter when this team is trailing by a touchdown or two.
That's true.
Yeah, but that's when Tyrell Williams brings it down for a touchdown. Go Lions.
Boom. Speaking of touchdowns, Jared Goff touchdowns. In 2018, he had 32. In 2019, he had 22. In 2020, he had 20. Downward trend there, but I'm going to bounce it back up to 25 touchdowns, over or under for 2021. Let's go to you, Ryan, first this time.
Oh, man, I hate, just betting the under is such a unfun thing to do, but I have to do it in this scenario because I don't see Jared Goff hitting the over on that mark because I think the Lions, when they get when they get deep in the red zone, like they get within 10 yards of the goal line, I think that the Lions are going to do everything they can to utilize their offensive line and just pound footballs into the end zone the old-fashioned way. So I'm going to have to say under for 25 touchdowns, even though I think it's close. Let me say this, Jeremy, as a bookie, you're doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Establishing these.
Thank you.
Establishing the total, establishing the line,
establishing the prop.
Yeah. I'll go under. I agree with everything Ryan said that betting the under is like betting for the bad guys to win sometimes, but it just, I don't see Jared Goff getting a lot of touchdowns, and I see the run game for what touchdowns there are probably filching a lot of those touchdowns. So yeah, under.
Okay, that's fair. 71% of the live audience agrees with you. They're also taking the under.
I like this, by the way, that we're doing this with Twitch, like giving them a chance to weigh in too.
Yep. Interactive experience. If you're listening on the podcast, you got to join us live. All right.
Well, we are giving you the scraps on the podcast
True.
Too, so make sure to subscribe there.
Exactly. All right. So you say the running game is going to filch a lot of these touchdowns. Let's move to the running game, and let's talk specifically about Deandre Swift. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to take this over-under directly from ESPN's projections because they project Deandre Swift to get 811 rushing yards, 495 receiving yards. So over-under 1,306 scrimmage yards for Deandre Swift.
You bastard. The idea that a Lions running back would have, and I know it's scrimmage yards, not rushing yards, but that you would tempt me to take the over and implicate we might finally have 1,000-yard running season from a running back. Which again, by the way, 17 games, it could happen, but not since Barry himself, 1,000 yards rushing. I've been taking under all day, but holy crap. Damn. Well, I can't do dead air. Fuck. Screw it. I'll take the over. I don't feel good about it. But I'm taking the over. I'm going to take the over. I think they're going to really put him in positions to succeed.
Ryan? Yeah, I want him to get over 1,300 yards because that means the Lions are doing well. And the second component of it is he's healthy. And I'm just saying that with the way that the NFL running back position goes and with the way that this current Lions coaching staff, like Anthony Lynn, view the relationship between Jamal Williams and this offense and Deandre Swift in this offense and viewing him as being complementary. I'm worried about the filching happening here where Jamal Williams is going to take away opportunities, potentially injuries take away opportunities.
Sure.
And God, I'm being the least fun person in the world.
That's how you make money. You just make money. Don't be fun. Just make the money.
I guess.
Be right.
Yeah.
Spend the money on fun things.
Yeah, it's
true. Make your money. Say that you can run an NFL team like Horrible Vulgaris did for the NBA, and then get fired 5 years later after you ruin the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, I'm condemning the Lions to a really bad season, though. Like if Jared Goff is like under 25 touchdowns, Deandre Swift is under. Yeah. Whatever.
We all know this. All right, let's go rapid fire. We got two more. I think.
Give me an over.
He's taking the over. Oh, he's taking the over. So is 94% of our live audience. All right, this one's going to be fun.
Agreement so far. I don't like this
because
no. I'm staying with under. I just want an over that I can take.
You want?
Okay.
Well, too bad because this next one you're going to have to choose a player, not an over and under. This is not an over under. This is most offensive touchdowns for the Detroit Lions, not including Jared Goff. I'm going to give you DeAndre Swift at 2-1 odds, T.J. Hockenson at 3-1 odds, Tyrell Williams at 5-1 odds, Brashad Perriman at 7-1 odds, Jamal Williams at 10-1 odds, and the rest of the field at 15-1 odds.
This is how I know Jeremy is still a newbie on booking, though, because it's all to 1 odds here. It's all very neat and tidy.
Well, for simplicity's sake, for listeners' sake.
I know, but I wanted to razz you a bit. I think it's Ryan's turn to go first, actually.
Oh, it is my turn to go first. I like the money on Jamal Williams at 10-1.
Yeah.
Like that's just that's a sexy bet to me. But like if I'm trying to bet on the sure thing, which is not fun, like don't bet on the sure thing. That's how you lose money. I mean, Swift makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're making double your money on a guy who's going to be, he's going to be in there all the time when they're by the red zone. Like DeAndre Swift's going to be a guy that they're just not going to take out the field. Doesn't matter if he, motions out to the slot. Doesn't matter if he's in the backfield. Sexy bet, Williams. Smart bet, Swift.
Sexy bet for me is the field because I like some of these other receivers that it could be Cephas. I like what could happen in the slot, either be it Cephas or Amon-Ra St. Brown with a rookie year. But I think smart bet for me is either Hockenson or Tyrell Williams. And I'm really struggling between the two. I think Hockenson could be a really good short yardage, but I feel like Williams is going to establish himself as kind of that veteran in the wide receiver room. And probably, I think he's going to probably be the go-to weapon for Jared Goff in this first year. I'll take Tyrell Williams at 5-1. I like the value there. It's a good middle of the field value, good return, and good odds.
Interesting. Our live audience not being very risky. 50% are taking Hawk at 3-1. 38 are taking Swift at 2-1. All right, we're going to go through these last three very, very quickly. I'm not even going to put it up for poll, so just you guys.
Yeah.
All right, moving to the defense. Over under 11 total interceptions. Last year the Lions had 7. The NFL average was 12.
Under. Sorry, hate to take the under, but who's going to pull down those interceptions?
Over, as Tracy Walker leads the team with 5.
Ooh,
listen to you.
Love it.
Drunk on your own supply. I like it.
Staying in the secondary here, Jeff Okudah, PFF grade of 65 total. Over, under. For reference, 65 would have placed a cornerback 47th out of 121, so about the top third. And Jeff Okudah's grade was 42.5, so that would be a 22.5 increase in grade.
If you're a Lions fan, you have to be praying for the over, because if Jeff Okudah doesn't perform even in the top third of the NFL, you're really wondering why you saw the Lions spend the 3rd overall pick on a guy who isn't quite there yet in his second year, when it seems like everything in terms of a coaching staff has been put in place for him to succeed. So I gotta take the over.
This might be the first over I take. I feel like PFF we're gonna do some Detroit versus everybody on PFF this year. But yeah, I feel like everything Okudah's told me this offseason, it feels like he's got to take the next step this year. He feels like he's blaming a lot of it on the old coaching staff, the old defensive scheme. So All right, I believe you. I trust you. Let's go with this. If I lose the money, I'm coming to your house, Okuda.
All right.
And then I am politely leaving.
Yeah. Knocking on the door. He's not going to answer,
yeah.
and then you leave. But the message will have been sent.
Yes, a stern knock on the door.
Final one, Lions defense overall ranking by points allowed. I'm putting the over-under at 22nd. So this is essentially, are they going to be bottom 10 or are they not?
They're going to be bottom 10. I don't know if that's over or under. I kind of lost track of which
we'll
way
say
I go here.
Under 22nd. So yeah. Under,
okay. Yeah.
As in worse than 22nd.
It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good, folks.
I think it will be better than that. So I'm going to take the over, I guess, in the sense, right, that we've established. I mean, that would put them right around in the neighborhood of like having the like New York Giants defense of last year, who allowed 357 points. So like, I don't know. I'm feeling it. I don't know.
You love Aaron Glenn.
You
just say you love Aaron Glenn.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
That's it.
That's fair.
That's fine.
All right. Point blank.
All right. Well, we got that out of the way. Now you want a list cast. I like this, Jeremy. We might have to turn the rest of this offseason into just more props.
Maybe. People should be keeping tabs on us. I hope someone has a spreadsheet now.
I hope they aren't. Like, that's I hate that
Receipts.
thing. I hate when people are like, I hate freezing cold takes. I hate people are like, we got to hold the hot takers accountable and recall and like remember all of what they said about predictions before the games, and here's their week to week records. No, that's lame. Go away. Let me have fun. I'm an idiot over here.
It's just like betting slips. Although we should say these are for entertainment purposes only.
No, it's not. It's legal in Michigan.
But don't just go run out and do the bets that we just did and blame us. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, wait until me and Ryan launch one leg at a time, then take our gambling advice, and then lose the shirt off.
Okay,
your back.
that's fair.
Yeah. But coming up next on the Pride of Detroit POD cast, we're going back into list cast. Running backs are up this week. Some fun times are ahead. Stick with us. We'll be right back on the Pride of Detroit POD cast. All right.
I am long
I need to go at least
a mozzarella sticks.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go turn down this AC because I think it's loud in the background, but I'm not going to turn it off because it's once again triple digits here in the Valley. And
Why did Chris just give me middle fingers? What just happened?
He was giving, I think, the climate in California the middle fingers because it's triple digits.
There you go.
I don't know about you. It doesn't need to be triple digits here in Michigan for it to feel like absolute swamp outside.
Oh my gosh!
Like maybe low 80s right now, and it just feels like it's 95.
Yeah, no, You can
it's
chew
even
the air
worse.
outside.
It's even worse up in the Pacific Northwest right now, man. Holy God.
Let me put the chat box.
Are we not getting? Yeah, I was going to say we're not getting chat. Yeah.
Let me go through
104 for John Whitaker in Vancouver. Oof, I'm sorry, man.
That Pac Northwest /
That's why I'm wearing this.
Is crazy. There you go.
I'm losing jacket.
Keeping John in our memories.
Yeah. Well, that's from the logo from when they burned down their city the first time over the Stanley Cup.
All right,
remember that.
Let me catch up on alerts really quick. Todd Jr. with the 6 months says, "Let's get it." Then we had V5 Samoa come in with the 5 gifted. Well, first he resubbed for 4 months, threw in a bunch of emotes in there. Then gifted 5 subs, including one to our good friend Zeusfer. Then Jameson54 gifted 5 subs, including one to someone named Slyest_Rye.
Interesting.
What?
You kind of hope that someone like that might be just using their Amazon Prime on us. But,
You know how many subscriptions I bought when you had your damn mustache?
I bought.
You don't have to buy any. It's free.
By the way,
which is a good reminder.
I have a problem with you guys right now. I have a problem with all of you.
What did we do?
I worry, first off, that we are becoming too self-aware of the scraps and that you are trying to deliberately feed the scraps and making sexual innuendos about feeding the scraps. Number one, hold it, Ryan. Hold on, Ryan. Hold on, Ryan. Number 2, do you realize what kind of psychic... I demand workplace compensation for having to listen to you guys not know how to pee properly.
Okay. Can I talk yet?
Yeah, does Mike not know how to piss properly? Does he not know how? The fact that you can't avoid wetting yourself. What did I listen to? What did I listen to? Do you know how much I had to cut out from that to just save my psychic trauma? Think of the little guy here. All right, Ryan, you can talk.
A few things quickly. One, the scraps became a little bit too self-aware because I decided to tell this guy that I put mustard on watermelon, and he's like, "No, we need to save this for the scraps."
that is true. Channel. That is true.
And I was absolutely right in that assessment.
Also,
you were right.
Psychotic. That is a psychotic mustard on watermelon. I could see like salt on watermelon, but mustard? Okay.
Yeah, I know it was bad. It was terrible.
All right.
The second thing is there's no way that the craziest thing you heard was that Mike didn't know how to pee when we talked about trying to put together a contraption that would help that would allow you to pee hands-free as if you were using your hands before.
Yeah, listen, I didn't save all the notes.
I can piss. It's Mike who can't. Not all of us. I know how to pee.
That's fair. I did not save all my notes from that. I did have a whole bunch of notes about that Tom Cruise contraption, about why you guys are weirdos, but I'm going to let it go.
That got weird.
Because I don't want to talk about, I don't want another scraps full of urinals again. I don't want another piss-filled scraps. You said you were hammered, Chris, from Dan Pass. Yes, I was. I bought some new bottles of sake, and I worked 14 hours on Monday. I spent the rest of that week getting hammered because I have emotional swings, and sometimes I need to do something about that. The sake was really good.
Chris, I also noticed that you're drinking from a mug with the Destiny logo on it.
Yeah, this is an old thing I got way back. Yeah.
I don't
play
think
Destiny anymore.
I don't think you saw, or maybe you did, but I tagged you in a tweet. It was like a meme about like new people to games, and it says like, yes, so when do you start having fun? Yeah, and then it's like the veteran players like, you don't.
Yeah,
and I was like,
no, that's absolutely true of Destiny. That's absolutely true. That's true of a lot of games I play, just because I enjoy the grind of playing a game where it's like,
what's that one game? Is it Warframe or whatever?
Warframe that I played for 7 years. That Mancer tried calling me out of my playtime because I had like 4 digits of hours pumped into that game. Yeah, in fairness, I would fail to close that game, and I just would leave Warframe running overnight. And I'd wake up that next morning and be like, oh shit, it's still on. But
reminds me of my days playing Halo 2.
Destiny does have a story, but it's like a it's like a story in porn. Who cares? Some people really get into the lore of Destiny, but not me. Just give me something to shoot so I can get some loot. I'm really excited for the new Halo though, and it's going to be free, Ryan.
I know. If I can ever get an Xbox,
or we just get you.
It's not going to be on PC.
It is going to be on PC. It is going to be on Game Pass.
Master Race, dude. Just go PC, man. Just do it.
Wow, I know. Jeremy is the one who busts out the Master Race talk on here.
Mm-hmm.
It makes so much sense. I get why I should do it, but I don't know.
And then you'll have like a supercomputer to stream too. If you want to start streaming, or if you don't want to have to deal with your dinky laptop for these things.
No, trust me, Kev.
You have issues with Discord like 8 out of 10 times.
Trust me, Kev. I used to be a long time admin for a Destiny 2 clan, a very big one. I totally get that there's a story and people are really into it. I'm not one of those people. I try. I hang out with some people on Discord and they try to tell me the story, and I'm like, that's cool, man, but can I make my Warlock look cool or not? Can I get a cool new fuck-off revolver or not?
My poor computer. I'm surprised you can't hear it crying in the background.
I've heard your audio chop a little bit.
I can't hear anything in the background because Chris is trying to send me into the sunken place right now.
What am I doing?
I'm stirring up your. Is that your tea?
So yeah, this is how bad I've gotten into tea. I've gotten sugar cubes.
Oh my gosh! I thought I got old.
Yeah. Well, this. Yeah, I bought this thing, this Japanese cast iron teapot, and it's Ceylon with some lemon in there right now, loose leaf Ceylon. So, I've got 3 more months to basically live, pretty much. I'm gonna turn 35 in September, and then it's fucking over.
Chris?
So bright now.
Christopher?
Yeah.
Some of us have already turned 35 this year.
Yeah,
so
I know.
shut the hell up.
Listen, this is how this works. This is how this works. It's a trickle. Manser isn't on the site anymore, so he can no longer shame all of us for being old. But there was a hierarchy where you're old first, I make fun of you, then it comes to me, and then Ryan makes fun of me, then Manser makes fun of all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would piss me off because like that used to be my shtick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
I
was like,
a psycho.
I was like, that's gimmick infringement. Like you're bringing the same wrestler to the territory where I already exist. Like,
sorry,
you're double booking us.
But you've got kids now, and you're about to be 30, so we're gonna have to find something else. You're more adult than both me and Chris at this point.
Yeah, I've got a cat. I've got a cat, and I'm into anime. Like, I'm clinging onto my
onto 13.
I am desperately clinging on to hoping that somehow, as long as I don't show my sunken eyes to people, that people will somehow mistake me for some Gen Z weirdo, like freak. But I'm not on TikTok, so I guess I don't pass.
Yeah, Neither am I.
No.
Whatever. Gosh.
I wish I hadn't gotten into Twitter just because I can't do any other social media. Like, I've tried Instagram. I don't take enough pictures. My sister tried to get me into Snapchat for the longest time. And again, like, I don't shoot videos. I'm definitely not sure as hell not doing TikTok, which just looks like a worse Snapchat / worse Vine.
Well, so I'm teaching summer school right now, Chris, and I was pulling up their assignment for class, and I had like TweetDeck up. And they're like, "Oh, you're on Twitter?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's how I get my news." And they're like, "You gonna get canceled?" I'm like,
"TikTok's the one doing the canceling. Hold up."
I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, I was like Benjamin Buttoning, like on site. Like I was just like,
you were like, was that who's at the end of Saving Private Ryan turning old in front of the camera?
Matt Damon, my favorite actor.
Yeah.
You should have turned to them and been like, "Hey, you guys are never going to get noticed on TikTok with their algorithm favoring, hot people, you ugly bastards."
This POD is turning into an episode of Golden Girls.
You should have done that, right? That's a good idea.
Thank you for being a friend. Traveling down that road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. I'm going over 8 octaves, I
know. I'm just glad to know you now have a karaoke song that isn't just, God, what was the one you did, you opened with last time?
Oh, God, I did Pearl Jam Jeremy.
Oh, no, that's not the one I was thinking of.
That was awful. I always do You're Out of Touch.
Yes, that was the one I was thinking of.
I take pride in Out of Touch. By Hall & Oates.
Out of Touch, and then you also did the one.
That's like my go-to
whiskey.
One. Everything. What?
The one whiskey, one bourbon, one beer. That song too. You did
yeah, the George Thorogood song. Yeah.
That went like it was like 10 minutes long.
Song. It's a 10-minute song. Yeah, one bourbon was because I did the whole spoken part too.
Yeah,
about him getting kicked out of his apartment. Yeah.
Good times.
Oh man.
R.I.P. to a chance.
Gosh, what? I'm trying to remember what song I did.
I just know You're Out of Touch is like my go-to. That's the best song for karaoke.
Oh, I did Creed.
I thought you did Creed, yeah.
Yeah.
Which Creed? Which Creed? Was it Higher?
No, it wasn't Higher. It was
Arms Wide Open?
No. Both
Those
great
are two
tunes.
big ones.
No, was it My Sacrifice?
Oh God! Oh God!
I was listening to Creed with a buddy of mine, just kind of for fun.
Oh no! One Last Breath. It was One Last Breath.
All those songs sound so similar. Like I hate to be the like everything sounds the same to me these days, but like A lot of Creed songs sounded the exact same.
One of the shows I do for Fox Sports Radio, Jason Martin, who's like a radio host out of Nashville, he loves 90s grunge and 90s music, and I've been playing a lot of Presidents of the United States on the radio lately, and it does make me want to sing Peaches at some point.
I think that's the only song I know of theirs, but...
What? You don't know Lump?
Oh, Lump, that's right.
Yeah.
Lump
Peaches and Lump.
I'm definitely more
you know that
familiar.
Because you know of Lump because of Weird Al.
100%.
Yep. I knew it because I had that Weird Al album as a kid. I knew it.
Was that Bad Hair Day? Or was that before Bad Hair Day?
I think that was Bad Hair Day, yeah.
I think it might have been before.
No, because it was Gump, wasn't it? He did the song about...
He did Gump.
Yeah.
But Bad Hair Day was famous for its Amish Paradise. Amish Paradise was the hit.
That was like the second album. There's like one before that was kind of like the best thing off that was like My Bologna.
I mean, you can go way. I think that might be way further.
We're talking way too much about Weird Al. I'm sorry.
I'll do a whole damn segment on Weird Al.
Dude, I was gonna say right now, I really wish that I could request a list cast from Jeremy for his top 5 Weird Al songs.
Oh man,
I'll do it right now. I've got 28,000.
There's too many.
What do you?
There we go. Because done.
I have this perception of like Weird Al that's obviously probably much different than yours, but like I always viewed like his like biggest song, like his most popular, to be either Eat It or
Fat.
No, Ridin' Nerdy. I feel like Ridin' Nerdy was so popular.
For me, it was always Amish.
That's right. Yeah.
For me, it was always Amish Paradise because that was like the last thing I remember from the era of music videos. Because he did a music video of Amish Paradise.
Right. And he's just like sweating like crazy in it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Albuquerque? Great song. A spoken word song that is also about 10 minutes long. Man, you're really going to make me do this?
Yes.
I've put in the points, Jeremy.
And this is essential for the scraps. So,
God damn it, Ryan.
Oh man, it's none of the new
ones. Do you want to think about this, and you want to think about it and do it on the other side of Listcast?
I won't be thinking about it at all during the Listcast.
No, we can't. Yeah, I was gonna say we can't do that because I already referenced like the scraps, and if we do that, then it seems like a really natural segment for you to break and then to go on the other side of break, and it's just I'm way too in my own head right now about the scraps.
I feel like Amish Paradise would not hold up in today's culture. I feel like that's a culturally insensitive song.
But it's Jewish.
I feel like a lot of Weird Al songs.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a song called Fat. Like that definitely wouldn't hold up.
Every Jewish stand-up comedian does the same thing, Jeremy. It's self-deprecation. They all know.
But he's not Amish. It's not self-deprecation if he's not Amish. No, he's not Amish.
Oh.
Hey, our good friend Bearded Blevins with the 14 months says 14 months, just like the number of wins the Lions will get this year.
Damn.
Wow.
Book it.
Wow. Bring it on.
Everything you know is wrong.
Here's the thing: is I like some Weird Al deep cuts, but I can't really think of them right now.
I think I remember Everything You Know Is Wrong. That was like the one deep cut I remember.
But here's the thing, Jeremy. Like, just 5 are your favorites. Those got to be bubbling right at the top of your heart.
Just go to Bad Hair Day and Running with Scissors and pull some shit out of there.
Someone ranked all 174 songs, so I'm gonna look and see if any of them jump out to me.
That's plagiarism.
No, I'm just. It's a list essentially. Here's the thing. There's a song called "The Night Santa Went Crazy," and it is I
remember that song. That's a horrific song.
It's weird and it's violent and it's nothing like Weird Al is very like hokey and silly and like farts and food and stuff like that. He's talking about like Santa literally just murdering everybody and his elves, and it's really weird and quirky. And I'm gonna make it my number 5. I don't care. It's weird.
It's your list cast.
Yep. We'll go Amish Paradise. Amish Paradise. We'll do make it like 2.
Oh, you're taking the Ryan
yeah, where I'm just
approach.
moving all around because
I'm keeping a list. I'm keeping a list here just so I keep it straight. So,
oh, okay. You know what? This is suddenly turning even more like I'm going with like the darker songs as my favorite, but the song "You Don't Love Me Anymore," I love it. It's great.
Number 4?
Not a parody. That's my number 1. My number 1, "You Don't Love Me Anymore."
I've never heard. I feel like I have some homework to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to include any of the polkas.
Also not a song parody, but there was, what was it, like My Baby's in Love with Eddie Vedder?
I don't even know that one.
Oh, that's okay. I'm maybe exposing myself as maybe knowing a little bit too much about early.
Yeah, wait a second. Should you be making a list too?
No, I'm not. I only ever had Bad Hair Day and Running with Scissors.
Okay. You know, we'll put Gump at 3. Is that available?
Yeah, we can put Gump at 3.
Okay. And then Headline News is my number 2, which is a parody of.
You put Amish Paradise at 2.
Oh, 4 then. 4? Is 4 available? 4.
4 is available. All right, Headline News. All right, we got top 5. We got number 1, You Don't Love Me Anymore. 2, Amish Paradise. 3, Gump. 4, Headline News. 5, The Night Santa Went Crazy. You've only got 2 parodies in here, pretty much.
Well, Headline News is a parody. Is it? It's a parody of by the Crash Test Dummies.
Oh, I wouldn't have been able to pick up on that.
Okay. Boom, boom. It's a good one.
Just fell down the Weird Al song list again. This isn't helping. Yeah. That's the effect of the list cast, man.
I mean, I haven't really listened to a bunch of Weird Al.
His best song is Amish Paradise, and there aren't enough Amish people with social media to get that canceled. That's true. That is
fair.
True.
It's very fair.
Listcast?
Wow, why? I think Weird Al has an issue with Christmas. He also has a song called "Christmas at Ground Zero."
I think I agree with Ryan. It's time for listcast.
When did that song come out?
Before 9/11.
Okay, I was
before
like that.
Yes, no, that is
really dark.
That was definitely pre 9/11. That was like a early 90s.
Well, I'm out of tea. I was gonna go refill my hot water at some point.
Let me see if I can figure out 1986. So yeah,
I'll let you guys do that. I'm gonna get another pot.
That song was recorded 5 days after my birthday.
It's what do they call it? Is it Kismet? Is that what it's called?
Sure, that's a thing. Which ones did I miss, y'all? Do we have any deep cut Weird Al fans? One More Minute is? Oh, I don't know if I know One More Minute. Sorry, Bangers.
Now that Lump song is stuck in my head.
I'm sat alone in a bench in a park.
Boggy Marsh. Boggy Marsh.
My name is Forrest. He'd casually remark.
Is that how it really goes?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Let that heat for a sec.
I never really got into the whole parody song thing. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't grow up with Weird Al, I don't think you normally would. Like, it seems kind of lame now. Like, I get that.
It feels like the only ones I remember seeing were basically, it was the music videos. It was all about the Pentiums, and it was Amish Paradise. And Pentiums was a little too nerdy. Like, if you knew what a Pentium was in, like, 96.
I remember liking the Jurassic Park one, too, but I don't remember what it sounds like. I feel like I have to listen to it. Is that an original? I think it is an original, right? I don't want to get DMCA'd here, but we'll play just a little bit. This is a commercial. But yeah, like, I think musical comedy changed in the 2000s with, like, Lonely Island. Like, it was no longer about parodies. It was about, I don't know, it was really just about making kind of okay music and funny lyrics.
Also, he was stuck with the accordion bit. Like,
True.
Lonely Island got that T-Pain going.
True. Jurassic Park was
yeah,
I remember it.
There was something I was interested in watching on Netflix about, like,
Top 5 Lonely Island songs. Oh God,
I could probably do that too. I'd probably easier to do that.
with a fucking bullet.
You know what's weird though is that
Actually, hold up. No. Captain what was the one with where they had, was it just Captain Jack Sparrow? Where they had
probably. I think it's just called Jack Sparrow, probably.
Yeah, Jack Sparrow with Michael.
This is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow.
Two is I'm on a boat. I'm sorry, Ryan. I cut off Ryan though. He should continue.
No, the only thing I was going to say was that I didn't really have much of a relationship with Weird Al, but Lonely Island was something that
struck a chord.
It was like a different level, right? Like in terms of its, I guess, appeal and popularity. So like Lonely Island definitely resonated with me for sure.
Well, again, I think the key there is they did a lot of music videos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do weird music, you've got to put a video to it.
SNL digital shorts was
the thing.
Huge. It was huge.
Like Andy
it was on
had
YouTube. It was the YouTube. It started the YouTube era.
Yeah. And Andy had that platform on SNL that was like.
Yeah. I mean, it's
something
it
Weird Al never had.
Lazy Sunday was just like the start of everything.
Yeah, Weird Al had again, Amish Paradise. That was like the very tail end that you could get of like MTV.
Right.
Yeah.
But then plus, when Weird Al made his most recent album, didn't he release a music video a day for 2 weeks?
Something like that. I wasn't
YouTube.
paying attention.
He tried to. He tried.
Yeah. By that time, again, Lonely Island had eclipsed that, and now Lonely Island feels like a distant memory.
Oh,
Everyone does comedy. Everyone does parody songs now, like that kid doing the Fortnite song.
Number one victory royale.
Just took out Tomato Town.
My gosh.
All right, let me go get this hot water. Let me get this pot refilled, and we'll start this cast.
Let me do some deep cut Lonely Island.
Okay.
It's not deep cut to you and I because we talk about Semicolon all the time. I fucking love Semicolon. It's a great song.
It is a good song.
Going Kindergarten, I really like a lot. I don't
think I've heard that one.
That one's an SNL digital short, and I can't.
Okay.
Jeremy, have you ever made a Lonely Island song? Asks Harry, being bad, who knows the answer to that question. Maybe, and maybe if you are an internet sleuth, you might be able to find him. But I'm not going to tell you how.
That's all right. I have music videos that are out there.
Do you?
Yeah.
Have any of your students ever found him?
Yes.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Going Kindergarten features Robin and Sean Puffy Combs. I like it a lot. It's very good. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's any other Lonely Island ones that people might not have heard that I really like.
Well, there's two that I feel like.
Oh, I remember Mother Lover. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mother Lover was good. So was Dick in a Box.
Yeah. Those are the biggest ones.
So I think I've got that's 4 on my list.
Great Day is a good one.
But the two I was going to say, one of them is Natalie Raps because I technically Andy Samberg's in that song, so it counts.
Sure.
And then B, if you haven't seen Popstar, because I felt like that movie flew under the radar
100%.
So hard.
100%.
As far as music based comedies go, that are kind of that ilk, the only thing that I would probably put above it is Walk Hard. And I had just recently seen that. I saw that for the first time during the beginning of quarantine.
Great movie. Yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, I've probably had at least 5 or 6 tweets about how great Walk Hard is. Really quick, the other ones that I love The Creep with Nicki Minaj. And do the creep. And do the creep. And then
I just can't get over auto-tuned Michael Bolton. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, no,
no matter how much I do this list, I'm going to keep coming back to Jack Sparrow.
Well,
it's an all-timer.
If you haven't already, there's a couple of specials on Netflix that the Lonely Island have done with Michael Bolton, specifically.
Really,
the big sexy Valentine special, which is fantastic. It's very fun.
Just my mom used to listen to all that kind of stuff, like Michael Bolton and just all of that. So it hits different for me.
I would search Michael Bolton. I think it's called the Michael Bolton Big Sexy Valentine Special. It's pretty good.
Oh man.
I don't know if anything
Jizz
from
in My
Bash
Pants was. Oh
yeah,
god,
that was
that
good.
one.
And so was I Just Had Sex was good. But from the Bash Brothers Netflix special.
Oh right.
I also feel like On a Boat put T-Pain on the map.
Again? Well, he was already on the map, wasn't he?
Well, what was he doing before that? Because I mean, granted, you know me, I'm a metal guy, I'm a hard rock guy. I don't listen to a lot of like rap or hip hop, so like I didn't know who T-Pain was until I saw On a Boat.
Okay, I think that's what happened when T-Pain did On a Boat, is that like he mega blew up because he was already big. He was already huge in music. He was
transcended
definitely
genre
like,
at that point, though. Yeah.
And was that before or after Usher crushed his spirit? Did you guys see that? Okay,
so that's it's from a Netflix show.
Yeah.
That I want to watch. I think it's part of like I think like NPR or no, I don't know who financed it, but like it was talking about like it was one whole episode just about the history of autotune.
Yeah.
And like the first time it was ever used was by Cher.
Cher, yeah.
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 But
Bolton was a rock guy before he became a ballad guy. That's the secret Wisconsin Lion fan. They were all rock guys before that because ballads came from just god awful like, you know, death of like weird hair metal in the 80s where they're doing, you know, you always see those on late night monster ballads, get 30 of the best slow jams from the 80s. And it's like all just White Snake and Scorpion and all that. Like, yeah, that's where those guys came from. They got out of dealing with cocaine and they were like, you know what? I want to be Frank Sinatra now. It's not as lame.
But yeah, screw Usher and telling T-Pain that he ruined music because of autotune.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think some people use autotune too much, but it's a tool. You can always overuse it. That's not T-Pain's fault.
T-Pain is awesome, by the way. And if you guys don't follow T-Pain on Twitch, he is the most amazing intros to Twitch ever.
I was about to say, I realized he was a Twitch streamer because I was watching the video game, Jeff Knightley's, you know, the old G4 guy who does like the video game awards now. He was doing an E3 presentation and he was up there playing like Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance with T-Pain or something.
Yeah. I don't care if this gets us DMCA'd. We're watching T-Pain's infamous intro, not infamous, famous intro now.
Go back to Listcast.
That it's a minute long. It's gone viral at this point, but it's so good that if you haven't seen it, you need to see it right now. So we're gonna.
All right, and then we got to get back to Listcast because we're an hour in already.
Twitch.tv/T-Pain. Oops, hold on.
I think I've seen this before actually.
I think we've played it on stream before, but it's so good. We got to get it some more love.
Yeah. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Woo! Let go. Look, we about to get it brackin' in this bitch. You just tuned into the latest channel on Twitch. And I am T-Pain, you know the OG. So when you think of legends, I am one of those kings. Oh, please, get on both knees. I'm your host tonight, but feel free to host me. I'm a big brainer. Pro gamer, other channels lame-os, they no namers, 5 subs, 20 subs, 50.
Right, let's go.
Yeah, I can't put money in the bank cause it won't fit in. I stay loyal to my royals and you know I can't switch. Take the trash outside, better get out my face, bitch. That's what's up. Hey, that's what's up. Hey, that's what's up.
Hold on.
I am ready to go, man.
This is the best part here. Oh, so many fist bumps. All right. Let me get back into our this one. Here we go. All right, chat, you're going away. We got to get the Listcast text in here. Whoop. But not these
I'm
guys.
I'm chomping at the bit, man.
Okay, I'm ready.
Like I'll go away for 1 week and I come back and I'm just like, oh god. Woo! Listcast. Listcast. It's back. It's good again. Our third episode of the 2021 NFL Listcast. The original Listcast where we rank the top 10 of a given position in the NFL. It's not strictly Lions content, but we like doing it. We like having fun with it. It allows us to broaden our horizons and look at the rest of the NFL, get some cross exposure. Also, everyone at work at Fox Sports Radio is now having, every time they see me working on the my Listcast rankings, they're like, they want to put in their own opinions or they want to try to crash the show. I'm like, no, this is for us. This is the OG. This is the original trio here that we do this. Pride of Detroit. Only Pride of Detroit does Listcast.
You can't find any positional lists anywhere this time of year. It's only us.
Not as a podcast.
Oh, Chris Sims says, wait 1 second.
Well, Chris Sims can go somewhere else.
Agreed.
All right. So as always, we pull the staff at Pride of Detroit. So it's not just the three of us, although we have our own opinions. We'll be sharing our own top 10 as they come up. So it's not even the guys just us have in there. And we'll talk about some notables before we start. So we have pulled the three of us, Hamza Bakush, John Whitaker, Eric Schlitt, and Mike Payton have all weighed in on this. And we have our top 10. But do we have any honorable mentions you want to start with, Jeremy? There's one I want to talk about. But just if there's anyone else you have, I want to hit on number 11, but is there anyone else?
Well, I mean, let's talk about Deandre Swift because none of us voted for Deandre Swift, and I think rightfully so. I don't think he deserves to be in this top 10, but Mike did indeed put him at, I think 6 or 7?
7.
He put him at 7. Which, I mean, listen, we just came off a segment where we said, 1,300 yards total is in the realm of possibilities for him. And if he hits that goal, does that make him a top 10 running back? Still probably not.
Probably not.
But he's close. He'd be close,
here's
right?
Here's the thing, and it's the one thing I can't do, and it's the reason why he doesn't make my list. He hasn't. There is nothing to prove that he can do it right now.
Right.
He would have to have he is, right now we are grading him completely on potential. He hasn't. Yes. We haven't seen him for a full season. We haven't seen him fully utilized in this new offense. And we just need to know what he is before I start entertaining the notion of projecting him as a top 10. Yeah. He wasn't a top 10 coming out of college either.
And so here's two quick notes about my list and how I came up with it. One, like Chris just mentioned, I think it's really hard to pull the running back apart from their offensive line. And I think it's important that you think about where and how this player will play independent of anything else. So like those two things are inextricably linked to one another. I mean, just look at Ezekiel Elliott, right? But so that's the one challenge therein lies. And that's why the second thing is like, I value those running backs who kind of do more work and outperform their offensive lines. And there's some numbers that Jeremy tweeted out from, I forget who it was, but there were some really good numbers that showed like running back yards before contact and then after contact and things like that. So like that definitely changed my perception for my list as well.
And yeah, the other thing too is like this is a position that it's really hard to. There's some guys on this list who I didn't want to put up that high because I just keep thinking to myself, A, can they stay healthy? Or B, they're coming off of injury. Are they going to be the same person? It's an injury-prone position. It's a position where at any point you could just break down and fall off a cliff. Ask Todd Gurley, and just it's so hard to do this. And there's some guys even high up on my list who I'm like, ooh, but he's had some, he got hurt last year. Is he going to be the same? But you just have to kind of trust the process a little bit.
And I want to talk about one guy that didn't make the collective list, but made my list. And part of me is only saying this because I see that Baltimore Beatdown is watching us live, but also because I think he's an interesting case that kind of goes towards both of Ryan's points in that he comes from an offense that he's 1,000% benefiting from, having a guy like Lamar Jackson and a team that runs the ball like crazy. But he also has a very interesting stat that makes him kind of look very, very good, and that's J.K. Dobbins, who was my number 10. Like I said, definitely benefits from being on the Ravens. I don't know if he would have been as effective in his rookie year as he was last year on any other team, but one interesting stat that I looked when I was making my list was rushing yards over expected, which measures, what a normal running back would get on a running play versus what this running back did. And J.K. Dobbins was second in the league in rushing yards over expectations per attempts with per every attempt at 1.67. So I think he's worthy of discussion. I understand he didn't make the list. Doesn't have a lot to prove, and because he's on a team that really, he benefits from his supporting cast. But I think he deserves to be in the conversation.
Right. And I know number 11, who I want to talk about, because he was my 10, I believe. And he was on, I think, Ryan's list as well. But just, I think John and Hamza had him, but just, he was always low on a lot of these lists. So I think some guys edged him out just on overall points. Was the Chargers' Austin Eckler, who, again, some injuries early on. I haven't really gotten to see too much out of a full season out of him. What we've seen so far of him has been very promising, but he hasn't, he got hurt last year. He only played 10 games, and he's in those, you've seen the flash, but you haven't seen the full potential that could come out of him. And it's hard, man. I totally get it.
Yeah, the thing that I liked most about Austin Eckler, because he was on my list, and I believe he was actually number 9, but he's PFF's highest receiving grade at running back over the last 2 seasons.
83% catch rate last year, 85% in 2019.
And I mean, this is a league that has guys like Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara and Nick Chubb, and like Austin Eckler is the best out of all of them when it comes to catching the ball, which is such an important trait as a running back now.
Sure.
So that's why he was on my list.
Yeah, it's just tricky, and the reason he wasn't on my list is because he isn't quite like those other guys, because he hasn't quite brought it as a runner. I mean, he's never had more than 600 yards in a season rushing, and so to be kind of that, to me, to be the top 10 back, you need both. You either need to be both, or you need to be the best. And you could argue, yeah, Austin Eckler might be the best receiving back in the league. You could certainly argue that, and I wouldn't push back too much. But you'll see a lot of that's kind of the challenge with some of these lists, right? Is like you have some of these pure workhorse backs that you want to rank number 1 in the league, but at the same time, if you got a guy that's rushing and receiving for nearly 1,000 yards each, like that's almost better, right?
Mm-hmm. There's some guys who can be workhorse forever, and we'll talk about that one later. But we should start in the top 10 now. And at number 10, to get us started, from the Indianapolis Colts, Jonathan Taylor ranks in at number 10. Rookie last year, but Jeremy, what a rookie season he had. Already over 1,100 yards rushing right off the bat. I think close to about just south of 1,500 yards from scrimmage. Like he's going to be a weapon for Carson Wentz if Carson Wentz can throw the football.
Yeah, and this certainly goes to one of Ryan's points where it's like, is it Jonathan Taylor? Is it the supporting cast? Because anytime you got a guy like Quentin Nelson blocking in front of you, you're definitely going to benefit from that. But I mean, beyond that, 10th in PFF grade with a 80.7 score. 7th in yards per carry. So not only does he have a ton of yards, but he's averaging a lot per carry at 5.0. Yeah, just a heck of a rookie year. I had him on my list, I think, at 10 or 9. So just a guy that I think has a really bright future. And if you can come in on your rookie year and do something like that, it's usually a pretty good sign that you're going to hold on to that. And I think running back is a young man's game. So my list is going to be heavy on young guys, and he's going to be the only rookie on my list other than J.K. Dobbins. But I think he earned it, and I think only greater things are ahead for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick, I just want to say that I think I really unfairly wrote him off because he had such a slow start to last season, and he was getting passed up for other guys like Nyheim Hines, and it seemed like. Oh, and Marlon Mack even before the injury and everything. So that's where it was like, well, he can't really get it going as the share. But then as the season went on, when he became more of that workhorse back, that's when he like showed that he had that potential. So no fault. He wasn't on my list, but you can make a great case that he belongs like at 10 or 9.
Well, number 9 was not on my list, but I know he was on a lot of lists from a lot of other people. And that's Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys. He comes in at our number 9. Maybe it's just the Cowboy hate in me. Maybe it's everything you're talking about being tied in with your offensive lines. I've seen Zeke's production start to decline recently, and downward trends for running backs are something that scares the hell out of me. I think by talent alone, he's still very good. I don't know if he's top 10, but clearly everyone else disagrees with me.
I think
he would have been like odd. He would have been like 12 on my list or so.
Yeah. And I don't know if I can totally fault you for having him off your list completely. I had him at number 7, just because I think that this is a make or break year for Ezekiel Elliott. I think that this really is either, he does something more than average, a paltry like 4 yards a carry. That's somebody that you don't draft with the top 5 pick. We've seen in the NFL that like those running backs aren't sacred. Like the Jaguars cut Leonard Fournette just last season. These first round running backs are, Todd Gurley. I mean, twice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's one of those positions where I can see the Cowboys just saying it's time to cut bait because you don't have it anymore. And I'm just betting on him having that year this year.
I'm with Chris. Wasn't on my list. I don't know. It's tough to call a 25-year-old, soon to be 26-year-old old in this league, but
it feels old, doesn't it?
It's his 6th season. And who has been run more into the ground than a guy like Ezekiel Elliott? Like the tread is bare. And I'm not saying he doesn't have anything left. The guy in a quote unquote bad year still ran for 4.0 yards per carry, almost 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. But like Chris said, like you see a downward trend on a running back. Like I know the offensive line isn't what it used to be in Dallas, but that's scary.
He has had close to 1,100 rushing touches in 4 years.
Yeah.
That's touches, not that's like he gets the ball and has to run it 1,100 times. That's yeah.
And then I mean I don't like to harp too much on this because I feel like it's a little bit more random than we give it credit for, but like fumbles are kind of becoming a significant issue for Ezekiel Elliott.
He needs to start protecting the ball. He had 6 fumbles last year. It's not good.
Yeah, and 6 2 years before that.
I think there was one game last year I remember watching. It was a primetime game. I think he had either 2 or 3. So it was like one of those games where he just like completely fell apart.
Yeah. All right, number 8. And I originally did not. I mentioned Fox Sports Radio, so I have to take a drink there. But I originally did not have him on this guy on my list until. Did we just lose spot?
Yep.
I originally did not have this guy on my list. My friend Brian No, Portland radio extraordinaire, he pointed me to him and said that, hey, you really should be probably having him on your list. And that was our number 8 running back from the Las Vegas Raiders, Josh Jacobs, who, he's good. He's very good. I'm probably ignoring him a little bit because he was the Raiders, but he's going to be in his junior year here. He has had 2,000-yard rushing seasons. He's done that on, I believe, close to about 500 touches. So it's about an average of 250 touches per year. Total yards from scrimmage, 1,300 in both years he's done. And you got to expect that with the Raiders offense needing whatever it can, he'll get plenty of work.
Yeah, I think with Josh Jacobs, he's one of those case studies where it seems like he's good, and if he's going to get great, it's going to happen sooner than later. And if it doesn't turn into something great, then he can just kind of be like he can be a Jag. Like I think he's good. It's just I wonder if he's going to be great. And kind of like stay in this top 10 list, because I can see him easily falling out. Yeah, I could easily see him falling out. And I like him. It's just I don't love him enough to put him in the top 10.
We're putting a lot of hesitancy on our bottom 5 right now, just because that's just what the position is.
I don't have any hesitancy about Josh Jacobs being on my list at all. I've watched a lot of Raiders games, and that dude, that team is nothing without Josh Jacobs. That dude carries the team like Matthew Stafford carried the Lions for years. And I know the stats weren't great last year, 4 yards a carry, 3.9 yards per carry, whatever it was. But that's because teams keyed in on him. That's because the Raiders didn't have anything else. Like, I know Derek Carr had an okay year, but it's only because Josh Jacobs garnered so much attention. And yeah, sure, good backs are still able to do okay in that, but I think people realize how good of a back he was in 2019 and, just keyed in on him. So the Raiders are going to have to find a way to free him a little bit, because I do think he's an extremely talented guy, and I think he's a top 10 guy for sure.
12 touchdowns last year.
And that's considered a bad year for him.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, number 7, and I'm surprised this guy is down as far as he is. Maybe it is because of injuries, and we just haven't seen too much of him. But his first year in the league, I thought this guy was electric. Saquon Barkley of the New York Football Giants.
He was a hard one to place, right? I mean, coming off a pretty serious injury here, and I think. Before that, he was a top 2 guy, right? He was a guy that I think we all agreed was,
2018, he posts like 2,000 yards from scrimmage.
Yeah.
He averaged 5 yards that year, 4.6 the next year. Again, a guy that New York is just leaning on so heavily. And it was clear to see why they leaned on him. He was he's protected the ball. He only has had 1 fumble in his entire career. And he does whatever the Giants need him to do.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, he's that balanced guy. His rookie season was unbelievable. 1,300 yards, 5.0 yards per carry, and then another 721 receiving yards. The guy did everything. He was the entire offense. Unfortunately, everyone who saw that rookie year was like, maybe the Giants better slow down and not completely wear this guy out early in his career. Those guys kind of turned out to be right, because he misses 3 games the next season.
Yeah, 350 touches his rookie year. Yeah, like between rushing and receiving. But he's gotten a lot already.
Torn ACLs are tricky, man. You can come back from them. We've seen it a few times, but I'm nervous. But I still think the dude is insanely talented.
No questioning his talent. I don't think anybody can question his talent. On talent alone, he's a top 10 guy. I have Ezekiel Elliott ahead of him. I have Zeke at 7 and Barkley at 8, because I just think in terms of how much wear they've had, even though Barkley just got into the league not too long ago, he had over 600 carries at Penn State. And over another 100 receptions too. So this is a guy who that was a concern coming into the NFL. Sure. It was like, he's got a lot of wear on him, and then he has that huge rookie season, and it's just like we've seen a constant degrade. And I don't know, we've seen a downward trend rather than the upward one that you would expect.
Yeah, I think though, when it comes to him, I don't know if I've seen a consistent downward trend yet. But yeah, as Jeremy said, again, this is a guy who I'm worried about injury, but he could be. I am hoping for a healthy season out of him, just because I want to see him play. He's electric when he plays.
And to go to Ryan is being very on brand, putting Ezekiel Elliott above him, because Ezekiel Elliott, workhorse back, but he doesn't miss a lot of games. He's missed 2 total in the past 3 years, and so best ability is availability.
We know it.
Number 6 is something that I think Lions fans are not ready to come to terms with, but it's Aaron Jones, who I thought originally could be higher, but I had to rejigger some numbers. I put him down a little lower, but I don't think he's a product of just Aaron Rodgers. I think that this guy, when you have 2 seasons for a combined 3,000 yards from scrimmage, you're averaging over 5 yards a touch across both those. I think, he's only had one. He's been 3 seasons with 5.5 yards per carry, only 1 season below 5, and just 16 touchdowns in 2019. He's kind of doing everything there for them right now. And it's why, the Packers should be worried if they lose Aaron Rodgers, but they have a great fallback plan if they do lose Aaron Rodgers, which is just give the ball to Aaron Jones.
Yeah, there's no question he's not a product of Aaron Rodgers, because in 2019, he was the best Aaron on the team. Aaron Rodgers did not have a very good year Aaron Jones had a fantastic year, as you said, 16 touchdowns. And yeah, I think I need to repeat the stat that
16 touchdowns and three receiving touchdowns on top of that too. 19 touchdowns total that year.
I need to reiterate what you said before. In 3 out of his 4 seasons, he's had 5.5 yards per carry in each of those seasons. That is insane. If you, I imagine if you're listening to this podcast, you know what the NFL average is. It's like 4.2. And so even in the 1 year he didn't have 5.5, he had 4.6. In a career, he's averaging 5.2 yards per carry. Dude is crazy good.
I think the more that you dig into the numbers with Aaron Jones, like you realize that like having him at 6 is a mistake. Like he should be much higher, because like you need to even consider the other things. Like consider the shells that are getting moved around in Green Bay. Like, you know, the Packers are willing to let Jamal Williams go, and they will pay Aaron Jones. And it seems like when they could just like hold on, or they could just pass off onto any other running back, right? Like if they're so comfortable with Jamal and they draft AJ Dillon, it seems like Aaron Jones is kind of expendable, is he not? Nope, they rack out for him, and that's something that Green Bay doesn't often do.
True.
Like, and I think that shows you how valuable Aaron Jones is. Like, he is really freaking good. I mean, 5.5 yards a carry, like you said, Jeremy. That's absurd. Like, if any of the guys who are above him on this list, like if you just swapped out Aaron Jones' name with another one of these guys, like we would have a complete different perception, I think, of Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
like he belongs higher.
No slouch in the catching game too. I think he is career over like 71% catch, and that's actually, he's pulled down a little bit because his rookie year, I think he only had a 50% catch rate, but every other year since then, he's north of 72%.
Yeah, he's a threat in the receiving game too. That's important to note.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
it's becoming more necessary in today's game.
It will be interesting to see what those catch numbers are going to be affected by if it's not Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it could affect his rushing numbers because maybe teams start planning more for Aaron Jones than they do Aaron Rodgers. But I think if you're planning more for your running back than for the quarterback, that just shows you again how good you are as a running back.
Fair.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break here. Once again, 10 Jonathan Taylor, 9 Ezekiel Elliott, 8 Josh Jacobs, 7 Saquon Barkley, 6 Aaron Jones. We'll do our top 5 on the other side when we come back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast. Man, some of you are throwing around some shade at some of these running backs in here too.
Sorry about the visual kerfuffle we had in there. One of our recording
that's
bots
kind of
disappeared.
That's why I
us,
say
so
you got to have multiple layouts set up for it.
I had 5 and 3, a 5-box and a 3-box setup, but I don't have a 4-box setup yet. So
yeah, well, we'll get that. We'll get that settled. No worries. It's been a while since Craig's crashed on us.
It's true.
Yeah, that hasn't happened in a minute. I have a semi-related topic from the Listcast.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it? Because if not, I mean, just like running backs would get even more carries back when there were traditional, true like workhorse running backs. Mm-hmm. Like if you throw it back to Walter Payton and Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith, why were those guys able to sustain such long careers versus running backs today? Like, is it because they're asked to do more?
I think go on, Jeremy.
I think part of it might just be the culture of the NFL, where like you're probably less willing to let a player play injured nowadays than you were back then. And I mean, obviously there are big injuries like torn ACLs where you couldn't play on no matter what, but I mean that can't explain all of that. So yeah,
I have a couple of different theories.
I like Uncle Indigo's theory as well. He just says players are bigger and faster.
I mean, that's the obvious one right now. I think defenses are a lot meaner and they hit a lot harder. I think maybe it's just guys with even guys with the top speed. You see it too. When guys get bigger and faster, they get more prone to injury at the end of the day because you're straining your muscles even harder and pushing yourself to a limit that you're not really supposed to be at, but you kind of have to because it's an arms race with the guy on the other side of the ball who's also bigger and stronger and faster. I think part of it too is also like, I don't know, it feels like when I'm watching Barry Sanders, he's like really avoiding trying to be hit. The guy, I mean, because on one hand, yeah, you do have the Barry Sanders of the world, but on the other hand, you also have the Billy Sims, who played for like 2 years and then he's out. And I think we turn through a lot of running backs and we just remember the ones who survive. Like, we're going to remember Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I guess I kind of got caught up in that one era where it's like Earl Campbell and Bo Jackson and
Bo Jackson's career was still short too because of
that's true, right? But I guess like the Eric Dickersons of the world, you know.
The other theory I have, and this is more of my crackpot theory, if you want to hear it out.
What's that?
Pads were bigger, able to absorb blows easier, probably.
Yeah, I do have this weird feeling that like players are moving faster than humans should.
No, that is absolutely a thing. Like, look at how many like non-contact injuries are happening.
Right, just trying to cut.
It's just
at speeds in which humans aren't designed to cut.
Yeah,
and I guess that's what always makes every Barry Sanders run like, you know, like a highlight, right?
Right.
It's what. I mean,
also, look at how many. They used to warn about this for so long too. Look at how many we talk about when they started introducing artificial turf. Players would hate it for so much because it would just increase injuries. This was back in an era when there were more natural grass surfaces.
True.
Yeah. Yep, that's true.
Although I have to imagine the old Silverdome turf is probably a lot worse than what they're playing on these years.
Yeah, that's why Barry Sanders is such a freaking anomaly, right? Like he played 8 games a year at the Silverdome, and I think he only missed 2 games in his entire career.
Something crazy like that.
And they're like both in the same season.
Barry was also just compact. He was small and he could just cut, man.
But I guess that's like the same thing as Emmitt Smith. Like both like small guys that could do that. One better than the other.
I feel like if you're a little more compact like that, I think you're built a little. I'm almost going to say built different and fall into that meme, but you just built different.
But being that small and having someone 300 pounds land on you on like this thick of AstroTurf, and it's just cement under that. That seems dangerous.
They wore pads the size of tanks back then.
Barry's pads weighed the same as he did, essentially.
God. Yeah.
Well, let's not hate on Barry too much. I mean, that dude had the thickest calves. Was it calves or was it
quads?
It was his quads. It was his quads. Yeah. Jesus. That's 4 inches of padding right there. Anytime you land.
I think the other thing too is, and I hate to bring it up because this is a conversation I don't think we're really ready to have too much in the NFL, but I know players are against it, but how far we've cut down on what you can do in practice, you're just not conditioned all the time.
True.
To that. We're so worried about guys getting hurt during practice. We've just really cut down on how much contact you can take in practice. You can't build up that kind of just endurance and scab armor going into a season.
Yeah, and I think that if you ask players, hey, would you rather have a longer career if you had more physical practices, they would be like, nope.
Probably.
Well, they're also making a lot more, so they can be comfortable saying no.
Yeah, but exactly, Chris. And I just think that players probably hate padded practices.
100%.
No, I get it. I totally get it. And given the option, I wouldn't want it either. I just think that maybe there is a side effect to it. And it's just, again, I've heard some other guys talk about it. It's not something I feel like vibes with our player first fan mentality sometimes. And I think the players should come first, but at the same time, like, I do wonder how much some of these injuries are because they're just not used to contact practice anymore.
And you definitely hear coaches complain about that sort of stuff. And part of it is they're complaining about not getting enough time to install their defenses and offensive and scheme and that stuff. But part of it is the same.
Yeah.
Is like they don't like having their players go into the season cold.
No, I get it.
Really?
But I also understand too, like when media, when players see a guy go down in practice,
Right. That's
That
when
is
the
a
pitchforks
hell.
come
That
out.
is a hell of that's oh god, the response to that.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a waste. It feels like, why did we do this? Why did I just tear my ACL in a game that in an activity that isn't even a game?
I get the frustration on the fans' part because I mean it sucks when we have to go through a season without two of maybe the best running backs in the NFL to tie it into our list cast, like in Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. Like we win a whole season without both those guys essentially. And it sucks to have lost them in like were they both in practice? I don't think they were both in practice. But
I think McCaffrey was in practice. I can't remember for Saquon.
Regardless, like losing them for a season sucks, and I get that from a fan point of view. But I don't think that's the right attitude a fan should have in terms of the value of practice, because it is important.
Right.
And maybe it's a little bit different with preseason games, but I don't think it's much different, to be honest.
Yeah. Ryan, go ahead and say the line. I know you've been wanting to say it.
I don't know.
We talking about practice.
The funny thing is I just finished Ted Lasso, and Ted Lasso.
You flew through it.
I did. Well, they're like half-hour episodes. Those
Sure.
are like
Someone have a login so I can
mini
see this?
brownies.
I thought you were going to say the little biscuits. What? Guess you didn't really watch Ted Lasso that closely. I don't know.
Does anyone have like a login I could steal for that? Because I'm not paying for Apple TV to watch this, but it seems everyone's been talking about Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso's really good. Talk to the boss.
Talk to Bovada King?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Really quick, let me get some alerts here, acknowledged here. AKA motherfucker with the 2 months. It says Eddie George. I think that was in reference to our conversation about older running backs.
I feel like I should
hurt.
clip Jeremy saying that. I feel like I should just clip him out and just I wish I had a soundboard here. Maybe I get one of those stream decks and I'll just hit that just randomly during a show, AKA motherfucker, just in Jeremy's voice.
Anytime. And then Uncle Indigo came in with the 50 bits. Appreciate you guys. We're over 200 subs, by the way. Thank you for all the... Woo! I think we started well under, and then all those gifted subs came in. Up to 200. Appreciate that, y'all.
All the way up.
Thank you, everybody.
Are we ready to go into segment 3? I think...
No, because I just had to redeem some points.
Oh,
because I see a good boy.
Oh! Look at that goose.
I ruined your yawn. I'm sorry.
My daughter just gave me a nasty look. Thanks, Jeremy, for the MF bomb.
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
This is not rated for young people.
I'll bleep it next time. I don't have a bleep button.
Hold up. If I say cameo, it means you got to go hold him or something.
Oh. Goose.
The only sound effect I have on my stream deck is the ESPN draft sound. So I can say mother.
Get you some more. Some better lighting. There
Wow,
you go.
look at that. Front and center.
That boy. Look at that boy.
He's a good
His
boy.
ears are like the best I've ever seen on a dog. He's got like just such big, weird ears.
Very expressive ears.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Like right now, he's like so pitiful. How pitiful are you?
How pitiful are you?
Ruby's just out of camera here. He is like lying flat on the tile just to try to stay cool.
So there's this mark right here on him where I thought there was
a tick. Is
yeah.
that not a tick?
Well, we took him to the vet, and they're like, we don't know if it was a tick or not because they shaved it down a little bit and kind of, poked around at it, and they're like, we're not sure if it's a tick or not. So they're like, just keep an eye. They're like, just keep an eye on him for a couple weeks, and if he's fine, then he's fine. But
yeah, Ruby had a tick inside. Thankfully, it wasn't like a big tick, but he had a tick on the inside. My family's been dealing with ticks right now. My sister might have Lyme disease from a deer tick. Like she woke up with just a painful thing on her leg. But I remember down when I lived in Savannah, Ruby came in with a tick one time, and I had like no kind of rubbing alcohol or anything like medicinal. I ended up using just total bum ass me using tequila to try to get the tick out.
Seems on brand.
Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
Nice.
But it was also it was in his ear. It was a small, thin part of the flesh. Like it was on his body. That. Sorry, I almost said something I shouldn't have said on air. That thing would have just been a lot worse to get out. I was lucky it was on just a tiny cat's ear.
You're lucky it wasn't big tick energy.
Okay, I'm ready to do this.
Oh. All right, cool.
I see that was all planned just to get us to the segment.
Disgusting.
Look how polite Goose looks. Well, now he's laying down.
He is incredibly polite. No, it's probably hot there.
Yeah, my mom calls that little mark up by his eye now, calls it the Cindy Crawford.
I was thinking Marilyn Monroe, but that makes.
I've got to say, Ruby's got a mark too. Like I think he had like a scab on his ear that would not go away, and when it finally came off, it looks like a dent in his ear with some white fur around, like orange.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. How
marks are fun.
Yeah, like when they get those like scars or whatever, all the hair grows back white.
Yeah. Looks like he got a little notch in his ear. It's very cool. It gives him character. All right.
Bye, chat.
Welcome back to the Pride of Detroit listcast for running backs for the 2021 NFL season. Yes. Third segment. We'll do our top 5 now. We'll recap everything at the end. So this guy at number 5, and he once again, like, I love what he can bring, but again, I'm worried about injuries a little bit, and I hate that I have to be worried about injuries because we are doing another NFC North running back. You know it's Dalvin Cook at number 5.
I mean,
what else do we need to do? What else do I need to say? Like almost even though like I know I said injury worry coming back, but almost Jeremy, what was it, 1,900 yards from scrimmage last year?
Yeah, in 14 games. Like,
yeah,
I don't know,
averaging 111 rushing yards a game too.
Yeah, so I mean, he would have been right next up to 2,000 yards if he had played a full 16 game season, and I would say. Now that it's a 17-game season, he has a real good shot at 2,000 yards rushing this year. 5.0 yards per carry as well. I mean, to me, he's one of those dying breed, workhorse backs, and an absolute monster that can break out a 80-yard run at any time you want. Especially if you're, I don't know, playing 10 guys on the field at once. Dalvin Cook might bust out a 76-yarder on you or so. I was a little bit surprised he was this slow. He was my number 3. I think he does everything, and even a little bit of receiving. Like last year, he only had 361 yards receiving, but the year before that, it was 519. He brings that aspect to his game while being one of those really handful of guys that can be, I think, considered a workhorse back.
Yeah, that was Goose actually voicing his displeasure with having Dalvin Cook at 5. He couldn't believe that we had him this low because he brought up as I was walking him out of the room. He's like, "Do you know how bad the Vikings offensive line is? Do you know what Dalvin Cook has to overcome in order to put up the stats that he puts up?" So, and he's right on all accounts. It's just you're running out of room. You know what I mean? Like, especially with the running backs, like we're getting to this point where it's like it's not the guys who are really struggling with injuries anymore because like it seems like Dalvin Cook is kind of past that. But now we're getting into the guys where like, oh, you're really picking favorites.
Yeah. I definitely think like once we got to Aaron Jones at 6, all these guys are established. All of these guys are potential top 5 guys, and just put them in order of your own personal preference. Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably playing favorites with our number 4 because I had him number 2, and I totally understand why he's probably lower, and that is of the Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb. I think I know why he's lower. He's got to share a field with Kareem Hunt. I think I know why he's lower. It's because of, he had the knee injury last year. He misses 4 games. But I think he has the most upside going into the season. I genuinely look at what he's done so far in his career. He's done it on we talk a lot about these guys being north of 300 rushing touches. a year. He hasn't. Chubb's done all of that while being under 300. I think that year he had, what was it, 2019? He had, I believe, just shy of 1,500 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. He did it on 299 touches.
This is a tough one for me because I feel like I'm kind of personally responsible for him being this low on the list because I had him at 7.
5.6 yards per carry last year, by the way, before his injury too.
I mean, the dude in terms of just running the ball, he's where Ezekiel Elliott was like 3 years ago. Like he's that good. He's that much of a game changer. He's just a huge weapon that the defenses are going to have to game plan around. I guess the only reason I had him that low, and even looking back at it, I think I made a mistake, is that he's not the dual threat guy. He doesn't bring much in terms of receiving. And that to me is a big deal. It's worth noting. But I mean, when you're, 1 or 2 or 3 in terms of just running the ball, which Nick Chubb absolutely is, maybe you can forgive that a little bit more. But I think the problem is just that everyone else on this list can give a little bit more, and Nick Chubb is just a running fiend.
I think the same can be said about why Austin Eckler snuck onto the bottom of my list, as you just said, Jeremy, is for the reason why Nick Chubb is as high as he is because he is such an incredibly good runner that I can turn a blind eye to some of the aspects of his game that I wish he was a little bit more developed at. But the stat for me that does it, 488 carries over the past 2 years, 124 broken tackles.
Yeah. Broken tackles.
I mean,
you just can't take him down.
You just can't take him down. And like the chart that Jeremy had shared out about yards before contact and yards after contact, Nick Chubb was one of the rushing attacks that belonged to like one of the highest yards after contact totals in the NFL. So
and to go right along with that, the rushing yards over expected stat that I was talking about earlier with J.K. Dobbins, Nick Chubb is number 1, and it's not particularly close.
No, I look at his upside. I think he has more upside going into this year than Christian McCaffrey, but we'll go into that later on. But number 3, could have probably guessed this guy would be here. I don't have him as high on my list because mostly it's just I look at the Saints and I think everyone they have is a product of scheme. But Alvin Kamara is still, if he is a product of scheme, he's a very good product of that scheme. He's very good, and Alvin Kamara is our number 3.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara belongs here for a variety of reasons. I mean, he's just done. If you want to talk about like the complete guy that Jeremy was talking about earlier, when we were talking about Nick Chubb, like you can't dream up a better version of who that could be than Alvin Kamara because he can do it all as a runner, whether it's inside the tackles or outside, if it's in the screen game, if it's splitting him out wide in the slot to do something. Like Alvin Kamara can do absolutely everything, and he's done it for such a long time. And the craziest thing about it is that it seems like almost every year he has a guy in the backfield who is, taking opportunities away from him. Whether it's Mark Ingram or
he hasn't had a single
Murray.
On the ground. He hasn't had a single season where he breaks 1,000 yards. But he makes up for it, as you say, in those receiving yards.
Yeah, and I mean it's incredible, and I think this year is going to be very telling. Like without Drew Brees, a new quarterback, how much can they trust and how much can they put on Alvin Kamara's plate, and can he produce at the level that they'll need him to in order to be a top offense? I'm betting on him being able to do it.
It's funny because you said Alvin Kamara, he's done it for such a long time, and when I was first putting this list together, I'm like, is he edging near that part where he's going to fall off? I'm like, let me look at his career stats. It's been 4 years. That's it. Like I was expecting to see like 6-7 years under his career. He's only been around for 4. He's still 25, about to turn 26. But you're right. Like he's done his shtick like every single year.
Right out of the box as a rookie, he was doing this.
Yes. Yeah. And career 5.0 yards per carry. Like that's phenomenal number there. And he put up his most career yards last year, right? That was the most 930 rushing yards, career high, 756 receiving yards, second highest of his career. Put them together, He's still playing phenomenally. I don't think he's yet going to hit that wall, and I think maybe even more so without Drew Brees. Maybe now he becomes an even bigger focus of this offense.
Chris, is DeAndre Swift, is that his ceiling? Alvin Kamara? Like,
I think it's lower than Alvin Kamara. I'm not going to lie, I don't think it's that high. Because Kamara is special. Kamara is, like, again, I worry about Saints guys sometimes just because I wonder how much it is kind of replaceable. But I had the same doubt about Michael Thomas. This is maybe one of my weird ticks when it comes to the Saints. But again, as I said, if he's a product of a scheme for even like 40% of it, it's still a good 40%. I just don't see that with Swift, that he could, like, Swift is Kamara is the model for Swift, but it's going to be a knockoff. It's not going to be a better sequel. All right, number two, once again, really splitting hairs here, but I know everyone is in love with this guy, and you want to see a full season out of him. From the Carolina Panthers, Christian McCaffrey.
I mean,
who wants to talk about it? Who wants to talk about our glorious boy?
They're just all you have to really do to justify putting Christian McCaffrey in the top two here is just go back and watch the highlights from 2018 and 2019. It's not even, you can throw whatever stats you want out there. It's the way he's gaining those yards that is just so much fun and so impressive to me, because he'll be leaping over guys, he'll be juking guys, he'll be running over, like, again, do it all back, and the receiving is just out of control. But the dude rushes. I mean, that 2019 season, 1,300, almost 1,400 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. We're talking collective 2,400 yards. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts. And, I think one of the things that Chris values the most, that he keeps on coming back to, is like those catch rates and receptions. And Christian McCaffrey, 388 targets in his NFL career, and he's only dropped 9 of them. Like, I mean, he is probably the most complete, ideal back that isn't the guy who's number one. You know what I mean? Like, he is. It's almost like
he's ideal in a different way from our number one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the antithesis of who number one is. And you can just as easily say, like, hey, watch these make a switcheroo and put Christian McCaffrey number one.
To me, he's Alvin Kamara. He's Alvin Kamara that can also be a workhorse back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I personally wouldn't do the switcheroo because I think this guy not only is our number one, not only is a freak of nature, I think this guy is Hall of Fame bound, probably already. Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans. 2,000 yards on the ground last year. That's all I got to say. 2,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 126.7 yards per game average on the ground. Christian McCaffrey might represent the new model of running back, of catch heavy, but also being a workhorse. Derrick Henry is the throwback, but he's a throwback for a reason. He's a throwback because he has every gift that God has given to him, and he is using it because he's a monster. He's a damn monster, and he's doing it with not that great of an offensive line in Tennessee either. It's Henry. It's Henry. This guy is insane, and I love watching him. And I know Jeremy is probably chaffed because he's a first-round running back drafted, but damn if he isn't deserving of it. Just watching him play, watching him run over people. I forget about the catch rates. Forget about all that. This guy is a monster. This guy is a tank on a blitzkrieg.
When we were talking about wide receivers, I talked about Tyreek Hill and how it's ridiculous that there can be someone so fast on a field of people that are so fast. It's ridiculous to me what Derrick Henry can do to a bunch of world-class athletes on the football field as well. What he did to Alexander Myers, the Detroit Lions 10th string cornerback that had to play a couple of years ago, he, for lack of a better term, bitch slapped him so hard. And he'll do that to anybody. Like, it doesn't have to be a 10th-string defensive back. His stiff arm is ridiculous. His strength is ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to embarrass people at the NFL level at the way Derrick Henry does, but he is that good. He is that special. And yes, he'll be a Hall of Famer. I think a lot of guys on this list will be a Hall of Famer. I think Christian McCaffrey has that. I think Alvin Kamara might already be one because he revolutionized the game. But Derrick Henry is one. No question.
Yeah, I apologize. I said he was first round. He wasn't. He was second round, but still, that still probably qualifies for how much Jeremy hates early round running back selections. But if you had the shot to spend a high round draft pick on Derrick Henry, you would, Jeremy.
No.
Come on. Come on. Look at him.
Nope.
He's a monster. He's a freak.
Play a position that matters.
He's faster than everyone. He's bigger than everyone. He's stronger than everyone.
True.
Play a position that matters. Jeremy.
He is the Titans offense right there.
Jeremy is the epitome of trolls right now. But the stat that was nuts to me that I read about Derrick Henry, 2,758 yards after contact since the start of the 2019 season, and that's almost 1,000 more than any other back over that span.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he's the one worry. The one knock on Henry is, again, we have to look at how many touches he's getting. He had almost 400 from scrimmage touches between receiving and rushing last year. 320 the year before that. And he came out of college with Alabama using him nonstop because he was even more of a monster in college. There's a reason he won the Heisman, because they just kept feeding him the ball. If there is any chink in that armor on Derrick Henry, is that he has been used quite a lot. But you look at how he's built, you look at how just that strength and endurance, and he's the one guy who I don't worry as much about that. Because I think he has those kind of monster truck treads on him.
I think he's the most underutilized, the most I don't want to say underappreciated, but I feel like he could just be a face for the NFL, and he's not. Why is Derrick Henry not a face for the NFL?
I have the answer right here. Are you ready for it? He plays for the Titans, Ryan.
I was going to say he doesn't play an important position, but sure.
Nobody cares about the Tennessee Titans. I'm sorry if any friends from Nashville are watching, but this is they are less relevant to the conversation of the NFL than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sorry. They are. I'm sorry. I don't even care if they play in Nashville. Nobody, you tell someone a Titans game is on TV who's not from Nashville, nobody's lining up to watch that. It's like asking people to watch a Chargers game.
That's what's crazy to me, though, is that they just weren't able to capitalize on that Houston fan base that they originally had, transferring over with them, especially once Houston got the Texans back.
I don't think many Houston fans moved over to Tennessee. Again, it's Nashville. Yeah. I'm sorry. But you're right, because I did see a lot of them trying to push Derrick Henry, and I agree we should push Derrick Henry. And anyone who knows football knows you want to watch Derrick Henry run people over.
That's the thing about his game, is that it's one of the most isolate. You can isolate Derrick Henry, and it's just amazing to watch. And it takes even the most casual or non-interested football fan to watch Derrick Henry highlights and be like, holy crap, that guy is he's doing things that you shouldn't do to other human beings.
Yeah. It's a run game. You know exactly what he is doing. It is the again, Jeremy doesn't like rushing, but it is the pure essence of football right there. That's it. Just running over people, scoring touchdowns.
It was the pure essence of football. It was the pure essence of Matt Patricia's football. Not today. Yep. Not today. Patrick Mahomes.
I'm going to go back in time and kill the forward pass. Boys with a time machine going back and destroying Notre Dame so the forward pass is never invented.
I don't talk about a monkey's paw. You are not going to like what you see when you get to 2021 and there's no forward pass.
We're still going to be talking about baseball, and it's going to suck.
We probably all still talk like it too. We're like, did you watch the Yankees last night?
Yeah. Well, could you imagine that as someone who passingly enjoys fantasy sports? I played fantasy baseball one time when I was in high school, and never again. No, I love baseball. I love baseball just fine as a sport, but I do not like it as much as football.
I was gonna say if we want to take this conversation on, we're gonna have to add another 20 minutes to the podcast.
No. We're stopping it here. Let me get the voice together and do our top 10. Although I need to remember where some of these guys are playing too.
Just realized what you meant when you said the voice.
All right. Oh God. Number 10, Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts. Number 9, Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas Cowboys. Number 8, Josh Jacobs, the Roaming Raiders, Las Vegas. Saquon Barkley, New York Football Giants. You got to include the football part to sound like a dick. Number 6, Aaron Jones, Cheeseheads. Number 5, Dalvin Cook, Minnesota Vikings. Number 4, Nick Chubb, the other team that looks like losers that aren't the Lions. Number 3, Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Cheaters. Bountygate.
We're throwing Bountygate references?
Yeah, sure. Right. Number 2, Christian McCaffrey. Wish he played in a better place than the Carolina Panthers.
Wow.
Number 1, Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans.
I thought you were going to say like
2021
Tennessee irrelevance.
I already got my shot ins on Tennessee. We're going to get more people. We're going to get another fan base asking to fire me.
I think one thing we won't get is people being like, "Oh, I'm not worried about missing out on the podcast anymore after listening to this."
With that note, we close up the Pride of Detroit PODcast. Thank you for listening. Thanks to everyone who's watching us live on Twitch. Look for this on your feeds. Well, you're already found it. But look for the scraps later on your feeds, probably a day after this one hits the feeds. Look for more podcasts later in the week. Look for our Green Room podcast, where more Lions Q&A coming your way here. And as always, we'll see you Starside.